He is shocking everyone. We're talking about another underrated Cavs player who will have a very significant impact in terms of how the team performs for the 2025-2026 NBA season. What's going on, everybody? Happy Thursday here from Cavs Digest. I am your host for today's video, Darayus Sethna. Before we get into our subject for today, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Cavs YouTube channel. I cannot express how thankful I am to keep here, being here for a few weeks now. I'm seeing a lot of comments, hearing a lot of people's thoughts on whatever subject I'm talking about. So I really appreciate it if you could continue to do that, and by helping out our channel by liking our videos like this one and subscribing to that Cavs Digest YouTube channel. Let's get into it right away. It's a busy time for basically everything that is not basketball, right? You've got summer of soccer always going on with the different tournaments, men's and women's. You've got the NFL training camp starting, especially here in Cleveland. There's a ton of news around the Browns, the quarterback situation. There's, a bunch of stuff there. Baseball, obviously, in full swing. We're getting close to the trade deadline in the MLB. So the NBA, it's pretty dead. Obviously, women's basketball going strong. We'll, continue to see what goes on there. But if you're an NBA fan, it's a pretty bleak time of year. So I wanted to spend some time today to talk about a particular player for the Cavs who I think doesn't get enough credit. I did this last week with DeAndre Hunter, so I figured I'd do it with another player too. I want to talk about, the Cavs depth. This is something that I've preached a lot about in my first few videos here with Digest Media. This is a team that is loaded, not just in their starting five, but in their bench. And yes, they've made some moves here in the offseason that I think will affect how that bench rotation plays out. But nonetheless, the reason this team is projected to win the Eastern Conference next season is because of the star power along with the depth. This is a team that I believe can go the distance based on the way they're made up. And one of the ways they're made up is with this guy, Max Strus. And Max Strus, to me, has been a perfect fit since he arrived in Cleveland back in the fall of 2023. We can't forget about him. He, to me, is a critical piece on this Cavs roster. And when you think about his ability, when I think of Max Strus, I think of one term. That's plug and play. He literally can just come in to your offense and fit seamlessly. Not to mention the fact that Max Strus, had to earn his way into this league. Came up, through the G League, through, as an, undrafted, really had to work his way until he got to Miami and then flourished, helped the Heat get to the finals in 2023 and had that big year in Miami, which ultimately landed him a, solid contract and a full-time gig with the Cleveland Cavaliers. When you talk about Max Strus this particular season, I thought he really, like I said, just seamlessly fit in. Strus missed the first, if I look at my numbers here, the first 20 or so odd games. He only played in 50 games in the regular season. So he missed the first 32 games, if you do the math, 32 games of the season. So only played in 50 games in the regular season, started in 37 of those 50 games. He came back around mid-December, was dealing with some ankle problems, and honestly, by January, February, I had forgot that Max Strus was, out for almost a quarter of the season because he just didn't miss a beat, and the Cavs didn't really need to change their play style. No one, Kenny Atkinson didn't have to change his coaching. The players, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, really didn't have to change, the way they facilitate and handle the ball because Max Strus really is just a prototypical catch-and-shoot guy. You know who he reminds me of the most is Kyle Korver, actually a former Cavalier. But the reason I say Kyle Korver is let's go into these stats a little bit here because when I look at these stats, again, I just see someone like a Kyle Korver, someone who's going to get around 25, 26 minutes a game, as you see there. Going to give you about 9 to 12 points. I think this season that points per game average will jump up a little bit because he'll be playing in more games. Can get it done on the boards for you. Strus, a bigger guard. Really not an assist guy. He'll, get you some assists here and there. What really stands out to me is the efficiency, right? 44% from the field, overall. And then that 39% from three, obviously, is why he's getting paid big time by the Cavs. But again, I think of Kyle Korver, maybe a little more advanced version of Kyle Korver. He's probably not as an elite of a shooter, but I think he can do a little bit more on offense. He can dribble a little bit. He can shoot off the dribble, like get to his spot. But he's not a guy who's a ball handler or a facilitator. He's a catch and shoot guy and can shoot off the dribble a little bit. And I think that's perfect for what the Cavs need on offense. And the big debate here in Cleveland, I'm working part-time in Cleveland a little bit now, and I work with a lot of people who are big-time Cavs fans. And one of the debate that some of the conversations that we've been having is, should Max Strus be in the starting lineup, or should this guy be in the starting lineup? And that's DeAndre Hunter. And honestly, there's no right or wrong answer here to me. Both these guys are incredible at what they do and how they fit their specific roles. But I'm going to tell you why DeAndre Hunter should be coming off the bench and why Max Strus why Max Strus should be the one starting for the Cleveland Cavaliers. When I see a guy like DeAndre Hunter, I see someone, I talked about this last week, a very dynamic scorer. He's definitely a much more dynamic scorer in Max Strus in the sense that he can score in a variety of ways, right? Getting to the basket, shooting off the dribble, catch and shoot. Whereas I said before, Max Strus is really more of just a catch and shoot guy, can take one dribble and pull up, right? He's not, crossing people over. He's not getting to the basket and, drawing fouls. And that's fine, but that's just not his game. But the reason I would say Max Strus should start is because that really, you don't want the starting five, in my opinion, to be too top heavy, right? Like look at that picture there. You already have Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen, and then you're going to add Darius Garland in there. Those are all guys who need the ball to be successful, particularly Garland, Mitchell, and Mobley. Jarrett Allen is going to get a lot of touches in the paint, so he's going to get it done there. So for me, I think Max Strus just fits that role of just complementing those four, doesn't really get in the way. And then when those stars need to take a rest, you bring in a guy like DeAndre Hunter, who is a more dynamic scorer and can still pack that punch. And in a sense, the Cavs don't really, have any drop off when it comes to offensive productivity. You would think that would also improve with guys like Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance Jr., and Sam Merrill coming in to, pack that punch as well. So I think if you were to make a case, DeAndre Hunter is definitely the more versatile player when it comes to comparing him and Max Strus. But I think Strus fits in better with the starting unit because he doesn't need the ball in his hands as much. I think DeAndre Hunter can and should have the ball in his hands a little bit more, especially if he's coming off the bench. But I do think it's important that we give Max Strus his due diligence because, like I said, the reason he's the key cog on this Cavs team is because he lets the main stars just do their thing. Main stars like Donovan Mitchell, they don't have to worry, we have to get Max the ball, or, he's not going to be able to do his thing. We need to get Max touches and this and that. No, they literally know that Max Strus is going to be ready in the corner or, on the wing, ready to shoot, locked and loaded, ready to go. He's going to give his heart out on defense. And he, if you need him to, pull up and get a two or go to the free throw line, he's able to do that as well. And you don't have to adjust. Kenny Atkinson doesn't have to adjust his style, doesn't need to adjust the game plan for Max Strus. And again, you're already dealing with so many guys who need the ball in their hands, and rightfully so. But there also have to be those important role players who just step up and are ready to make shots no matter how much they get the ball beforehand. And I think Max Strus is a perfect example of that. So that's what I have to say on Max Strus today. Again, like I said, definitely one of the more underrated players on this Cavs roster. But what are your thoughts? Should Max Strus start? Should he come off the bench? Where do you think he fits best? And what about DeAndre Hunter? What does that mean for him? Really excited to hear what you have to say about this one, because to me, this is a conversation that Cavs fans have been having, and especially in my circles, I've been talking about. And so I thought it was really important to bring up in a video today. And I also thought it was important to give Max Strus his due diligence. I'm excited to see what he can do this season with the Cavs, whether he's starting or coming off the bench. That concludes my video for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Like I said, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Cavs Digest YouTube channel. I'll see you next time for another episode of Cavs Digest. I'm your host, Darayus Sethna, and thanks so much for watching.